Well, I've become a bit of an Oscar-loving fool here, and let's talk all about Oscars in this video. Understandably, I've been considered an African cichlid guy, and if you go through the history of my channel, you'll see that it's mostly about the fish that are in this tank right here. This is a 300-gallon tank full of some pretty good-sized African cichlids. And that has been really, and admittedly, the focus of my channel. But that's changed in the last year or so, where I've started to get into South American cichlids. And just recently, I received and just fell in love with these two Oscars from the Cichlid Shack. And I'll show them to you. We'll talk a little bit about Oscars as a species. These are the two fish that have converted me into an Oscar lover. And they possess the qualities that originally attracted me to African cichlids, in that they're very interactive, they're not afraid, they stay at the glass, and will usually come over to check things out, and don't shy and run away. And because of that, they become sort of favorites of mine, where other fish might be a bit more skittish. They also get very, very large. They can get well over 10 inches and around 3 pounds, and even larger. There have been reports of 15-inch Oscars at 3.5 pounds. So if you look on the internet, you'll see some just monstrous-sized fish. They certainly like a high-protein diet. In the wild, they'll eat bugs and crickets and smaller fish. But one of the reasons I wasn't interested in them originally is I thought you had to always be buying and feeding them goldfish, and I wasn't really interested in doing that. But now there's so many high quality, high protein foods you can offer to them that you don't need to necessarily feed them live fish. They come from South America, even though you can find them now in Florida because they've been released into the wild. But in South America, it's not uncommon for people to eat Oscars. I certainly have no plans on eating these two here. This one is referred to as a lemon Oscar, and he is an albino based on the red eye. Albino Oscar, and the other one is a red tiger. It is okay to keep a couple of them in a tank, and it is recommended that they be kept in tanks of a minimum of 75 gallons. That to me seems like it would be pretty tight if you had two Oscars. This tank here is 210 gallons. So they're going to have plenty of room in this tank. And the only question is if over time they're going to be able to get along with each other and also with their tank mates, because they can become very aggressive. But I believe that if they grow up with these fish, like this Nicaragua and the Vieja that's in the back corner, you also have a Jack Dempsey in here and a Salvini who's in that cave in the back corner. And if they grow up together in all of this room that they have, I'm hoping that they'll actually get along fine. So you'll notice as I've turned on some of the spotlights for filming, all of the other fish have sort of retreated behind plants and rocks and are hiding. The firemouth is just starting to come out back there. But the Oscars have stayed pretty much in the forefront of the aquarium. They can live anywhere from 10 to 20 years, and that's a very, very wide range, and I think it just has a lot to do with the quality of food and the quality of water that they're kept in. I imagine if you keep them in very clean, pristine conditions and you feed them good quality food, there's the Jack Dempsey finally came out, they will be closer to that 15 to 20 range as opposed to the 10-year range. Like any fish, keep the water quality good, feed them high quality food, clean, high protein food with a low amount of fillers, binding agents, and you're going to get a fish that lives longer. Usually not recommended they be kept with Jack Dempsey's or with green tears. I have a little green tear that'll be coming into this tank. But again, fingers crossed, the fact that I'm raising them together, I hope that will allow them to get along over time. But like with any cichlid, you've got to be ready to move them out. So you have to have another tank ready to go, or a local fish store that's willing to take your fish. They prefer a tank that is between 77 degrees and 81 degrees. So certainly in the winter, unless you have them in a room that is pretty warm, you're going to need a heater that is adequate for the size of tank that you have them in. Rule of thumb seems to be 5 watts per gallon. I find that to be a bit much, but if you're in a place that gets pretty cold, I guess 5 watts per gallon is not a bad idea. That's the Nicaragua female, very good looking fish. Looks like the firemouth came out. So what's been your experience with keeping Oscars? Have you found them to become extremely aggressive, or have they been relatively passive? What do you feed them? How long have you had them? I'm very curious. The more information I can get about them, the better. So certainly share your thoughts below. I've certainly become very much a fan. As you can see, they're following my hand here. Very much a fan of these, what some people call water pups. See how excited they get when they think I'm going to feed them. And of course, this creates excitement with the other fish. There comes the vieja. Vieja is just a big beast, a big friendly beast. Nobody messes with him because he's so large. Of course, these Oscars eventually will be bigger than that vieja. Firemouth will be kind of a mid-range fish, and so will the Jack Dempsey in size. Learning about Oscars and all the other fish that are in the South American tank has been very, very interesting. Your input has been very valuable. A lot of you that keep these kinds of fish have helped me along the way, and I appreciate that. And if those of you out there who haven't already done so would like to support the channel, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up and that notification bell. It is very appreciated. For those who'd like to go further in supporting the channel, consider becoming a Patreon member. That's a monthly member that supports the channel. It starts for as little as $3 a month, and information is below the video. Thank you, my friends. I appreciate you tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday for the Cichlids and Coffee live stream, where we'll talk about Oscars, cichlids, and community fish, and planted tanks, and betta, and everything else. Thank you, my friends. See you again soon. Bye-bye.